They groaned, they stirred, they all arose, nor spake, nor moved their eyes. It had been strange, even in a dream, to have seen those dead men rise.
Zombies are perhaps one of the most popular tribes of Magic, and on the dark plane of Innistrad, they run rampant. Our horde of zombies is one that will grow exponentially and will take no prisoners. For a zombie tribal deck, we have two possible commanders that I recommend we can use. From the original Innistrad, we have Grimgrin Corpseborn, a powerful zombie that makes for an incredibly powerful deck. And we have from Eldritch Moon the new Gisa and Geralf, two sibling necromancers who can raise powerful zombie hordes to overrun your opponents. We will be building this deck today for the latter, although you can always substitute Grimgrin in if you'd like. Our main focus is getting our undead horde up and running. Quite literally, our zombie army can churn out hundreds of zombie tokens ready to feast. And what better flavor could you ask for than of several thousand zombies chasing down your opponents? You can't kill what's already dead. At least not easily. This zombie army has a few important lords that we will want to include. All of these are zombies in their eroded versions, so do keep that in mind when your creatures give other zombies bonuses. Lord of the Undead and Zombie Master are those two that are technically zombies in their more recent printings and erratas. Undead Warchief gives a huge buff to our horde and will cheapen the cost of your zombie spells. He's perhaps my favorite lord of these guys. Diregraf Captain, Cemetery Reaper, and Death Baron all give a nice anthem effect. And finally, Mikaeus the Unhallowed gives a nice buff and gives your army undying, making them even harder to kill. Now let's raise the dead. The best kind of zombie army is a growing zombie army, so let's make some undead soldiers. Ghoul Caller Gisa and her brother Stitcher Geralf both make some nice tokens for us to smash into opponents' faces. Lich Lord of Unks and Undead Alchemist can both spawn a ton of tokens together. As a quick footnote, this deck does have a small mill sub-theme. You gotta fill those graves with bodies to resurrect, you know? Army of the Damned give us a ton of creatures, and endless ranks of the dead will help our army grow more and more unstoppable. Speaking of resurrection, we have some nice graveyard reanimation tricks up our sleeves, as well as ways of getting tons of zombies out. New Liliana's emblem is very nice to get out if we can keep her around long enough to get her ultimate off. Limb Duel lets us save dying creatures by making them into zombie servants for our side of the field. Grimoire of the Dead, if you can keep it out long enough to get 3 study counters on it, can bring back every creature from every graveyard under your side of the field as a zombie. Next is a card that I feel any deck that has a lot of creature death involved in its strategy ought to run. Jar of Eyeballs. This nifty card gives you a ton of filtering into the top of your library and is great in strategies that can put a lot of eyeballs counters on it. It's also pretty in flavor with the rest of our deck, a lot of body parts. Gravespawn Sovereign lets us return dead creatures to our side of the field, and this is a great ability to take your opponent's best creatures and putting them on our side. Grave Betrayal and Dread Slaver both make use of your opponent's dying creatures as they give them to us, as zombies. See where I'm going to this? Your opponent's creatures are going to die and join our ranks. Before we talk about our mana base, I want to take a moment to talk about a few select cards that I feel will make this deck absurdly difficult to handle for your opponents. Shepherd of Rot, Vengeful Dead, and Gempalm Polluter will deal a ton of damage to your opponents if you have a large enough army. Traumatize, Keening Stone, and Cellar Door help mill your opponents, giving them plenty of bodies for you to sift through later with your reanimation spells. Corpse Harvester gives us a nifty little tutor effect. Graveborn Muse is a ton of card draw if you can afford the life loss. Havenghoul Lich is a great reanimator creature, especially when combined with perhaps the best enchantment in this deck, Rooftop Storm. Any zombie you cast can be cast for absolutely free. Finally, two big contenders for making your horde unstoppable are Graph Harvest and Cover of Darkness. These two will give your army a ton of evasion that will be hard, nearly impossible to block. Now let's talk about some key lands that you should include. We have Dimir color, so blue and black are the colors we need. Urborg will give us perfect mana fixing for black, as everything then can tap for black mana. This also makes that Swamp Walk we gained from the Zombie Master easily accomplished. Bojuka Bog clears out your opponent's graveyard should they be running a deck that can also reanimate. Unholy Grotto can return zombies from your grave to your top deck. And of course, Cabal Coffers and Crypt of Agadeem can give us a ton of black mana. So what you get with this deck is a super fun and flavorful tribe of zombies that once they start will not stop until they've devoured your opponents. The best part, I think, would have to be the moment of terror when your opponent realizes you've just brought back everyone's graveyard to the field, under your control, as zombies, primed and ready to feast. I hope you enjoyed this deck tech. If so, leave a like below if you would like to see more. And if you're new to the channel, I do hope you consider becoming a subscriber to the Planeswalker Project today.